it's ChrystalChyna.
And we are back
with another
video.
Period.
Thank you guys so much for your patience with us.
Yes.
We have been dealing with COVID.
Yes.
It got us.
It got us.
After 2 years of not catching the virus and doing everything right, it finally caught up with us. So we had to take some time to go back to the drawing board and recuperate and get ourselves together.
I'm trying to get myself together. I can't even get myself together.
Now we're back. No COVID.
Period.
Still, trying to get back into the
groove of things.
Making sure that our cough is all the way gone. Our negative. So bear with us.
Right.
But thank you guys for still rolling with us in the meantime.
Amen. So you know what? We're back with a musicology, actually. Not just any video, a musicology video. This one is very special. We always say that. This one is on, we got to do our drum roll because it's been so long.
It's been so long. So join us.
Join us.
Donny Hathaway. Let's get it.
Donny Hathaway was born Donny Edward Hathaway on October 1st, 1945 to Drusilla Huntley.
Although Donny was born in Chicago, he was raised in St. Louis, Missouri by his maternal grandmother, Martha Hatcher.
Donny's grandmother, Martha, was also a respected musician as well as a guitarist, and she picked up on Donny's musical abilities very early on as he was raised in the church.
By the time Donny was 4, his grandmother, Martha, seeing as though she already saw his musical abilities and his potential, she gifted him his first piano, and then she was able to nurture his talent from there on. Donny became active as a singer in the family's Pentecostal church, which was Trinity Baptist. And then he also became known as Little Donny in the St. Louis gospel circuit as well.
Donny's musical abilities continued to be nurtured as he studied classical piano. By his high school years, he was already performing piano concertos such as Grieg's Piano Concerto in A minor.
Donny's abilities as a prodigy actually earned him a scholarship where he studied music to an HBCU, Howard University.
Period.
And actually, it was at Howard University that basically opened up the doors to the music that we know from him today.
Right.
Because it was there that he met his future collaborators, which is what we're about to get into. It was at Howard that he not only met his future wifey, Layla, but he also met future musical collaborator, Roberta Flack,
who was his classmate.
Killing Me Softly with his song, that one. And Leroy Hudson, who was his roommate.
How cool is that?
While at Howard, Donny also pledged to the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity.
During his time at Howard, Donny became very interested in making a legitimate career in music. And then he went on to form a jazz trio with drummer Rick Powell.
After forming his jazz trio, Donny started receiving even more offers in music elsewhere. So he decided in 1967, shortly before completing his degree, that he would actually drop out.
I get it.
I get it.
I get it.
I get it. Go where the money's at.
By 1969, Donny was working as a producer, arranger, and session musician for Chess Records, as well as Curtis Mayfield's Curtin Records as an in-house producer.
While working with Curtin Records, Donny arranged songs for the Unifix, for their songs Court of Love and the beginning of My End. Donny was also able to take part in musical projects for Aretha Franklin, Mavis Staples, Jerry Butler, and Curtis Mayfield himself.
And he was so young. He was very young doing this, and he had just left Howard, basically.
Yes. And was already receiving major musical offers. He wasn't even officially signed yet.
Right.
Just working as a house producer and arranger. And he was about maybe, 22?
23, 22.
Yes, around there.
Because Donny was already a house producer, this gave him the opportunity to do his own records.
Work on his own material.
Right. So as a result of this, Donny recorded his first single with June Conquest. It was a duet called Thank You Baby.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you, baby. From this duet, 23-year-old Donny, he signed a contract with Atlantic Records on its Atco division.
Donny's debut album, Everything is Everything, was released on July 1st, 1970. When we were talking about earlier, things come back full circle. For Donny's debut album, Everything is Everything, the first single was The Ghetto, and that actually was co-written by his college roommate from Howard, Leroy Hudson.
The ghetto. Talking about the ghetto.
Hey.
I love that song. Like, our dad would always play that song.
Yes.
Especially like with the Too Short sample. But you know.
Yeah, we're gonna put that out there.
Put that out
Too
there.
Short sample.
Yes, he did.
I also want to let you guys know, like, you know, a lot of hip hop songs from like the 80s and the 90s, they do have a lot of samples from the people that we have already talked about from Musicology. So I definitely want to make sure you guys know, like, hey, like, that was a sample. That's Donny Hathaway sample.
Right.
No, like, a lot of people don't know that. They probably think that's just like a hook somebody made. But no, that's actually from Donny Hathaway's. That's actually technically like his first like real single from his debut album.
Now, in the middle of all of this excitement surrounding his debut album, Donny actually recorded in the fall of 1970 what will become a Christmas standard, This Christmas. And literally, I remember the first time, well, not like the first time I heard that song, but I do remember like actually being able to feel what that song meant to me as a little girl, like being 4 years old. And you know how your parents would have like all the Black Christmas songs on one CD? That's what I remember. And that's what This Christmas by Donny Hathaway was one of those songs. And I just remember not really being able to put a timestamp on that song. Like, literally, even without Christmas, that's one of my favorite songs. Because of, you can hear the joy in his voice from singing that. And I wanted to mention that because one of his colleagues, Rick Powell, who we have mentioned before that he did the jazz trio with, he had mentioned that, you know, Donny was in like a real like Christmas mood, upbeat mood when he recorded and wrote that song. So I wanted to mention that.
Rick Powell was going on to say how, you know, not only was Donny in an upbeat mood when he was in the recording process of the song, but his goal was to make sure that African Americans had representation in the holiday musical genre.
Right.
And also Nadine McKenna, who was the co-writer of This Christmas, she recalls the experience as well, you know, expressing Donny's genius and, you know, making sure that in all that God was in the entire planning of that song as well. And that's something I could definitely hear. And this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me.
Shake a hand now. Yeah! Like, oh my God! Like, when I'm talking about it, I'm getting so excited. Because, like,
first of all, we love Christmas.
We love Christmas. Like, we are Christmas girls. But, like I said, Christmas aside, the lyrics in that song, like, just simple songwriting, but, like, really touching. And I do, like, when I think about This Christmas, that song, I do see Black families. Like, you know, like when he's like, shake a hand. Like, that makes
when you walking down the street and you shaking a hand and you smiling at people. Like, that is how it is in our community. Whether people want to admit that or not, or however they want to represent us. When it's the holiday times, it is all about family for us.
Right.
I mean, we can go down a whole historical list, but This Christmas is basically a contemporary Christmas standard.
Right, it is.
And even going back to its initial release, originally it didn't get the success as we know it today.
Right.
It was not much of a success the way we know it today until 1991 when Atco re-released it for their Soul Christmas compilation album. That's when it was like reintroduced and it regained like the popular interest.
Right.
And that's how we know it today. Like, of course, the Black community, you know, people always be late, but we always be right on time.
Right.
That's already been played in our house since the song came out. But it wasn't until that time when it was reintroduced. You know, the Whispers re-recorded it as a tribute to Donny.
That's one of my favorite versions.
That's one of our favorite versions. Like, we always play that. And you know, when you go into the department stores, they play a whole bunch of covers. But you know, I feel like the Whispers, like, that's my favorite.
That's my favorite cover.
If it's not gonna be Donny's, like, I'm gonna listen to the Whispers.
Right. I could listen to that song without it being Christmas. And it's
literally a standard.
It is.
It's like, it's not even just an American holiday standard. That is a Christmas standard. Like, and that was made by a black man in the 1970s when times were really rough for us.
Right.
Okay. So I don't want people to ever think, oh, like, that's just an old song. Like, not really. Like,
and like I said, as a child,
yes,
I could never put a time stamp on that because it's such a timeless song. Like, very you can timeless. Literally not really tell that it was like, that does not sound like a song that was recorded in 1970. It doesn't. Like, you know, things were recorded so differently back then, and like a lot of artists, like, their recordings sound very similar. Not the song itself, but the way that the songs are recorded. But that song in particular, it just has such a clean, crisp sound, and it's just like, wow, like, that was actually recorded in 1970. And for it to be so timeless over 50 years later, that's the kind of impact as an artist that you want to have. Period.
On April 2nd, 1971, Donny released his sophomore self-titled album, Donny Hathaway. And the album mostly included like pop, gospel, soul covers. And most popular of the covers of like the renditions that he included on the album were A Song for You, originally by Leon Russell.
I love that song. Yes. I love Leon Russell's version, and of course Donny Hathaway's version is the best. But you know, I'm just being biased.
And then also Donny's rendition of Giving Up, which is originally by Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Giving up, it's hard to do.
Yeah, when you really love someone,
her warm and tender touch.
Oh God,
a kiss and a hug, her caress.
Gosh,
I feel it.
They don't make shit.
I feel it.
I was about to cut. She cut.
Donny's third album was actually a collaboration with his old Howard schoolmate, Miss Roberta Flack, and that was released in May of 1972. The collaboration came about after Jerry Wexler actually advised that the two should collaborate because they would be able to produce like a joint popularity. They would be able to garner like a certain audience and garner more fans from that collaboration.
The album included a cover of Carole King's You Got a Friend.
I love that song.
Yeah.
As well as Miss Aretha's
Riri. Baby, I Love You.
Baby, I Love You.
On side 2 of the album, you know, back in the day, you have to switch the record, you know, for more hits.
Right.
It included Donny's rendition of For All We Know, which is actually the most critically acclaimed version of the song. There's so many versions of that song. Nat King Cole did it, Dinah Washington did it, but it's Donny's version that is the most critically acclaimed. And it also included the third single, Where Is the Love? Him and Roberta Flack.
I love that song.
I love that song. Where is the love?
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 Where is the love? Where is the love? You said you'd give to me so that you were free. Will it ever be? Where is the love? Hey.
That was nice. That was fun.
Yes,
Let
you
me
love that
in. Where is the Love hit number 5 on the Billboard charts, and it also garnered them a Grammy back in 1973.
During this time, Donny still contributed to arrangement for soundtracks such as Come Back Charleston Blue, and he even wrote, arranged, and sung the theme song for the television show
Maude. I love that theme song.
And then came Maude. Yeah, honey.
We are so old.
He was working. We are old. I mean, we can't help it though. When you have like older grandparents,
yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like TV Land is always on. Like, you know what I mean?
My TV Land.
Yes, honey. TV Land. Between this era as well, Donny also released a live album, which is considered one of the best live albums of all time. It included his own cover of What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Amazing.
I love that version.
I'm like, when I say, you know, a lot of covers just don't work for everybody. That one really did work. It's something about Donny Hathaway's voice that, I don't mean to say it this way, but when it comes to just songs that are about social causes or, you know, isolation or depression, you can just definitely hear it. It just connects differently when he sings it to me.
Donny's last solo album was called Extensions of a Man, and that was released on June 18th of 1973. And those singles included Come Little Children, Love, Love, Love. I love that song. Love, love. Da, 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 da. Oh, baby. Yeah. Oh, honey. You made me fall in love with you. Love that song. As well as our personal favorite. I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
Someday we'll all be free.
I love that song.
Hang on to the world as it spins around. Take it from me. Someday we'll all be free.
Yeah.
Hey, just wait and see. Someday we'll all be free.
Yeah. Throughout the decade, Donny did battle with his mental health, dating back to 1971 when he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. He was prescribed various different medications, just a whole bunch of medications, and he did take them. He was taking care of himself at one point, but he felt like, you know, I'm getting better, I don't need the medication anymore, so he became less diligent in taking them. But that created the downfall and contributed to like the chaos of his career as well as his friendships and personal and working relationships. As a result, he was hospitalized due to not being, you know, on top of taking care of his mental health and being less diligent with his medications.
Donny's mental illness was also driving a wedge between his friendship with Miss Roberta Flack as well. They did not reconcile until several years later. That was not until the release of The Closer I Get to You in 1978. The closer I get to you, the more you make me see. By giving me all you got, your love has captured me. Over and over again, I tried to tell myself that we could never be more than friends. Yes! Just sexy, simple, just writing, like just singing the song.
Exactly.
Godly. Just not a whole bunch of words, getting the point across, something sensual, something that can be
that's a love ballad standard.
Yes, it is a ballad standard. It really is. After their reconciliation in 1978 and the release of The Closer I Get to You, Roberta Flack and Donny, they were on track to making more music together, and they were set to release another album full of duets. However, it always is sad when we have to like break it down like this, but Donny's mental health did continue to take a toll on him and drive him to the edge. Sadly, Donny did pass away on January 13th, 1979, only at the age of 33. He was so young. like that's another one, like when we were talking about Tammy Terrell and how young she was. And I think that in people's minds, for some reason, I just don't think people really think about how young these people were when they passed away, and how much they were able to, I mean, accomplish, but
still so much
more they could have been able to do. And I mean, you know, a lot of people do have a hard time accepting Donny's death. And I mean, that also has to do with the conversation of mental illness in our community as African Americans. Right. That's not really a topic that has been discussed until recent years by our generation. We're the ones that, you know, are opening up the conversation. Right. But, you know, Donny Hathaway, he deserved much more.
He did. I think that a lot of people in that time dealing with mental health, they deserve the protection.
They do.
And I think that, you know, unfairly, they didn't get that. And I mean, it was a lot of turmoil within our own community. So I can only imagine what it was like. Not saying that we don't have that now, but just being a Black man or a Black woman back then, like dealing with civil rights, and like you have your own trauma that we have to go back from slavery and why we were raised a certain way, like that. I know that probably had an impact on how his illness deteriorated. So I feel like, you know, I'm glad that we're now having this conversation about mental health in our day and age. Because, you know, as people, as we, I mean, like, I'm kind of, or we both are kind of open with our mental health, but, you know, it's still a stigma. But I feel like it's progress that we're starting to talk about things that need to be discussed, because I don't want us to have a whole nother generation of we can't even talk about these things because it's like taboo, and it's not taboo. We deserve to be protected as Black people.
Yes, we do.
We deserve to be protected, and we deserve the rights and the privileges to have access to better health care and like so many other treatments that could help us. But I mean, unfortunately, Donny was a victim of his time, really. But, you know, Donny's music will live on forever. He has touched me. Like, literally, when I was a little kid singing, they used to be like, girl, why you singing so dang low? And that's because I used to listen to Donny Hathaway all the time when I was a little girl. But yes, Donny Hathaway's music will live on forever. He will be always one of our top influences in music. And we love him. And we love Layla. And we love the influence that his music has left. And we're so glad that, you know, we have Layla Hathaway, who is a great musician in her own right. We love Layla Hathaway very much, and we've been listening to her since we were very small.
Her sister Kenya, like they're both involved in music.
Both involved in
Kenya
music.
is a session singer, and I don't know if she still does it, but doing backgrounds for American Idol.
Right. They've both done a great job of upholding their father's legacy, and we love them very much. And yes, that was the Donny Hathaway video.
Yeah, we hope that you guys enjoyed that video. We love you guys so much.
Let us know who else you want to hear.
Let us know. Yes, please, in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you guys for rocking with us.
Yes, we love you guys.
We love you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye.